Are you ready? All right, we're going to bring joy back into education. I'd like everybody to turn to an attractive person beside you and repeat after me. It's a pleasure to sit beside you. You're looking sharp this morning. Everybody give that person a fist bump right now. No matter what you do, remember you are always a teacher and a role model. So by the end of this presentation, I want you to understand the conditions that you need to make sure to pump up all of your students. I want to teach you how to create comfortable relationships at your school sites. I want to provide you with tools that'll get you to take action to bring joy into your school every single day. Are you excited for this morning? Yes. All right, get pumped. And again, if you just take out your phone, make sure to tweet away, use the hashtag DannySpeaks, and thank you. Just make sure when you give me your email, you give me your name and your email, because I don't write email. I like to personalize emails. I don't write them to sexygirl76@yahoo.com. So make sure you write your name so I can address it directly to you. And if anytime you want to film, go ahead and you can film away. I just ask that you post it on YouTube. Maybe we'll go viral someday. You never know. All right, so we'll start off with the conditions of bringing joy back into education. A lot of us have to ask ourselves, why do we choose to teach? I mean, maybe you choose to teach the unlimited wealth opportunities that it presents you. Maybe you choose to teach to inspire the next generation of geniuses. Or maybe you choose to teach because you love it. The question I always ask teachers is, are you a Friday teacher or are you a Monday teacher? Now let's talk about the difference. The Friday teacher cannot wait for that final bell to ring on Friday afternoon. Happy hour cannot come soon enough for this person. And a lot of us may have gotten at that point, but folks, kids don't need Friday teachers, they need Monday teachers. The Monday teacher can't wait to get back in their classroom so she can start inspiring those little ones. But you got to find your joy. How many of you got joy? I mean, people find joy in different things. I mean, maybe you find joy bathing in ice cream. Maybe you find joy in the clothes that you choose to wear. Maybe you find joy in your work. Joy is all around us and it begins with you. Can I teach you a trick I used to teach my little ones? All right, this is called the two-finger trick. Everybody take out your index fingers, put them on the sides of your mouth, now push. Ah! Ah! We need people smiling again, man. Happy teachers produce happy kids. Happy kids come from California, where I teach. Can I give you a teaching tip? Yes. Whether I'm teaching little ones or older ones, I actually personally meet and greet every single student as they come into my classroom. It takes me about 15 to 20 seconds per student. A lot of people think it's a waste of time. To me, it's the most important time of day. Why? You may be the only person to say something nice that kid's day. I take it very, very seriously. So the first part of our conditions I want us to think about is how to be positive in our classrooms every single day. Do you remember why you became a teacher? I mean, I find a lot of people are starting to feel hollow inside for their decision to become educators. You know, you got to find where your motivation comes from. I mean, perhaps you've had a lot of caffeine and that's where your motivation comes from. Perhaps you're motivated to learn more, like this poor woman on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. On the $100 question they asked her, which of the following is the largest? Peanuts, an elephant, the moon, or a kettle? Visa needs to do a commercial based on this woman. Brand new dress, $200. Round trip airfare to New York City, $500. Telling a national television audience that an elephant is larger than the moon, priceless. This illustrates why we need really good educators, folks. I mean, perhaps you're considering a better job than your current one. You think you got a tough job? There's people with some real tough jobs out there. I'm always interested in what motivates people, so I like to read a lot of motivational theory textbooks because I don't have much of a social life. And of all the motivational theories I've ever studied, the best one I ever came across was this one proposed by this dude. His name was Abraham Maslow. And Maslow was interested in what makes people successful. And so to answer that question, he only studied successful people. He studied people like Albert Einstein, Frederick Douglass, Eleanor Roosevelt, and Helen Keller, and of course the cast of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. No. He would never study these people because he found when you surround yourself with people with a crippling philosophy, you start to adopt that exact same philosophy. Harvard's actually done studies on this. I don't know if you know this, but over 70% of medical students in their third year of residency start to develop symptoms of the diseases that they're studying. We find it in other professions as well. Of all professionals, do you know who the worst spellers are? It's teachers. Why? Because teachers see more spelling mistakes on a daily basis than the general population. By the way, are any of you interested in making your students better spellers? Yes. So my friend Rich Allen, who's a wonderful presenter, he had students that were testing below the 20th percentile on their spelling test. And so what he did is he relabeled the tiles of his classroom floor with the letters of the alphabet. After he had the kids spell the word on paper, he'd have them hop spell the word. The simple act of hopping actually increased all the test scores above the 80th percentile. The brain loves movement. You don't learn sitting down all day. So everybody stand up right now. I will give you 18 seconds to get a partner, introduce yourself to your partner, and spell out your first name. Your 18 seconds begins now. All right. Spell out your partner's first name in the air with your finger. You can print it, you can do cursive, whatever turns you on. Next, I want you to imagine a keyboard on the floor, and with your right leg, I want you to type out your partner's first name. Finally, I want you to channel your inner village person. I want you to spell out your partner's name with your body, YMCA style, right now. What is your partner's name? Shout it out. Very good. Everybody give that person a high five right now. The most important word in most people's vocabulary is the sound of their name. It is critical. We get to know the names of our students, their parents, all of our colleagues. Our job is to make everybody around us feel important. So the second condition I want us to think about every single day in our classrooms is how to model excellence every day. And that leads us to the third condition, which is to utilize multiple modalities. Now, this is going to date me. When I first started teaching elementary school, the Lion King movie had just come out. And so every single morning we formed our circle of life and sang songs. People always ask me, Danny, why do you sing so many songs with your students? Well, it's a Harvard medical fact. The human brain has the ability to erase information. For example, who was the 18th President of the United States? How many bones are in the human body? A couple of you got that one. How many members of Congress are there? Too many? I would accept that answer. Good. For those of you that need to know, Ulysses S. Grant was the 18th President of the United States. There's 206 bones in the human body. There's 535 voting members of Congress, 435 in the House, 100 in the Senate. Well, don't worry about that. Let's see if you can complete any of these. In 1492, 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. Da 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 da. 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 Conjunction, junction. What's your function? Yeah, someday you'll have Alzheimer's disease. You won't remember the names of your own children, but you'll remember jingles you learned when you were 5 years old. I mean, that's all they had to do to teach kids the alphabet. Just put it to the beat of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Would you like some more? Yes. Everybody stand up. We're going to learn the continents right now. Everybody repeat after me and do the gestures. There are 7. There are 7. There are 7. There are 7. Continents. 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 Europe, Asia, Africa.
Europe, Asia, Africa.
North and South America.
North and South America.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Australia.
Australia.
Now, if you're teaching little ones, you better set some ground rules, or else you get first grade boys that are Mighty Morphin Power Rangers going, Europe, Asia, Africa. We're pointing to where they are on our map of the world. This next one I got in trouble for because I did it to the beat of a Bible camp song. So I'll teach it for all of you and then we'll do it together. So this one for the seasons of the year goes, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, winter, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, winter, spring, and summer, autumn, and winter are the seasons of the year. We can do it in Spanish too. It goes, primavera, verano, otoño, y invierno. Which would you prefer? Remember, the next time you have that poor English language learner in your classroom, it ain't easy functioning in another language all day. You know, let's have a little bit of empathy for that kid. By the way, every gesture means something. Spring is a time of growth. Summer is hot. Autumn is also known as fall, and winter is cold, so we'll do it slowly together. 1, 2, ready, go. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter, winter, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, winter, spring, and summer. Autumn and winter are the seasons of the year. One more. The kids and I wrote this one to teach ourselves parts of a plant. Repeat after me and do the gestures. Flower, leaf, stem.
Flower, leaf, stem.
Roots, there it is.
Roots, there it is.
Very good. Everybody give yourselves a hand. You may sit. People always ask me, Danny, did you ever sing with your middle school and high school students? Can I give you a teaching secret?
Yes.
I actually sang more often with them. Why? Because it annoyed them. Man, this is stupid, man. I hate this song, man. You wore that jacket yesterday, man. Middle schoolers always get personal. Then the one day we don't sing, they're like, when we sing it, man, it's all hormones in middle school. Okay, so I've always thought that good teachers are always reflective teachers, reflective practitioners. So we're going to do a tweet or tell right now in 23 seconds with the people around you. I want you to tweet or tell them which of these 3 conditions you can focus on to improve learning from day 1 of this school year. Your 23 seconds begins now. So now that leads us to the types of relationships, how to create comfortable relationships in our classrooms. Parents are the building blocks of success, folks. You need the parents' help. Children are just a reflection of their parents. Have you ever noticed on back to school night, before you've ever met the parent, you can match the parent with the kid right away? Everybody repeat after me. Parent's friend.
Parent's friend.
By the way, it's 2016. Parent means different things in different homes. Some kids have no mommy, some kids have 2 mommies, some kids are being raised by a foster mommy or an auntie or an older sibling. Whoever the authority figure is, that's the parent. We need to do whatever it takes to get that person on our side. I'll work with school districts. They'll bring me in for 2 days. I'll work with the teachers on the first day, the administrators on the second day, and on the evening of the first day, I work with the parents, because you need all 3 of those players on the exact same team. Every parent seminar I've ever conducted, I've pointed this out. 24/7, 365, 8,760. There's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year equals 8,760 hours in a year. 6, 5, 180, 1,000 a year. There are 6 hours in a typical school day, 5 days a week, 180 days a year equals 1,080 hours in a typical school year. Subtract 1,080 from 8,760 and you get 7,680 hours. A child is with the parent, not the teacher. Who's the problem? That's not the way I say it to parents, by the way. Here's the way I say it to parents. No matter what I do as your child's teacher, you are 7 times more important than me. Have any of you ever seen the movie Jerry Maguire? Help me help you. If he doesn't learn how to read, he's spending the rest of his life living with you, not with me. We need to be on the same team. You know, I've been blessed to have lots of wonderful mentors throughout my career. When I started teaching elementary school, one of my mentors was an 80-year-old woman named Estelle. And Estelle would always show up. The one day I actually had control of my classroom, she'd show up unannounced and say, "Hello, boys and girls," and I'd lose control immediately. She'd waddle in. She's like, "Daniel, you dress so nicely. Look at those beautiful bulletin boards. I love the way you put the kids in small groups. May I make a suggestion?" Am I going to listen to her? Sure, she just gave me 3 compliments as opposed to my principal at the time, Voldemort. You know, never listened to anything that guy said. He was always negative with me. You know, Estelle was so kind and patient with me. She'd say, "Daniel, don't look behind you. There's a boy stabbing another boy with a pencil. Don't look behind you. I need you to flick the light switch twice and he'll stop." And here's the thing. Anything Estelle ever suggested worked. So I learned very early on, this is a wise woman. Listen to what she has to say. She said something which changed me forever in my teaching approach. She said, "Daniel, a lot of the parents of your students had very negative experiences when they were in school. You got to work them just as hard as the kids. Sugar over vinegar." And that became my mantra from that day on. Every single night I would call 7 parents at home because I had 33 students in my classroom, so over the course of the week I could cover all 33. When I taught middle school and high school, it was tougher because I had 150 students. I had to make 30 phone calls a night, but I'm a big believer in an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Week 1. "Hi, Tammy's mom, it's Miss Brassell. I just want to tell you I love having Tammy in my classroom. She always sits in the front, she always has a smile on her face, her classmates love her, she's a natural born leader. Thank you so much for your support. Here's my home telephone number. You call me if you ever need anything." People freak out that I always gave out my home telephone number. Folks, in all my years of teaching, I think the most calls I ever got in a single year was maybe a dozen. It was never abused. If there was that situation, we could brainstorm some ways out of it. I don't think it would be abused. Week 2. "Hi, Tammy's mom, it's Miss Brassell again. Just want to tell you, Tammy won the 50-yard dash in our classroom Olympics today. We might have a future Olympian on our hands. Gosh, I just love having your daughter in my classroom. She's such a natural-born leader. Thank you so much for your support. Here's my home telephone number. You call me if you ever need anything." Week 3. "Hi, Tammy's mom, it's Miss Brassell again. Just wanted to tell you, Tammy got 100% on her vocabulary quiz today. Your daughter is moving mountains this year. I'm telling you, she's a natural-born leader. I wouldn't be surprised if she runs for president of the United States someday. She's just doing great. Thank you so much for all of your support. Here's my home telephone number. You call me if you ever need anything." Week 4. Hi, Mr. Brassell. Did you hear that? Did you hear it? I got it. I didn't even get her full name out. She's already saying hi to me. And now I know we can have a discussion if there's anything wrong. "Yeah, I just want to make sure everything's all right at home because Tammy, she got in a fight with one of her classmates today. And if she's going to run for president someday, you know how the media can be about these things." And guess what her mama just did? Exactly what you just did. She laughed. Because it just dawned on Mom, she and I have the exact same objective, for her daughter to move mountains. Once that parent understands that's your objective, you are going to start moving mountains. So the first relationship you need to build every single day is the parent relationship. How do you get a relationship with those parents? Now, it was either Aristotle or Bobby McFerrin who once said, "Don't worry, be happy." I see so many educators that are fearing their job security. Folks, do not worry. There are jobs out there. I've seen them. You got to avoid the naysayers. What do they look like? They look like this. I believe one bad apple does spoil a bunch. I used to teach with a woman, Mrs. Washington. She was sick one day. I'm like, "Miss Washington, how long have you been sick?" And she said, "In 3 more weeks, it'll be a month." This is the single most negative person I've ever met in my life. You got to watch it, folks. Those people are out there. Harry Warner in 1927 famously said, "Who the heck wants to hear actors talk?" 2 years later, The Jazz Singer was the first talking motion picture, changed movies forever. At his acceptance speech for the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1923, Robert Millikan stated, "There's no likelihood man can ever tap the power of the atom Less than 20 years later, we had atomic energy. One of my favorite quotes of all time came courtesy of Charles Duell. He was the head of the U.S. Patent Office in 1899. He said, "Everything that can be invented has been invented." Surround yourself with positives, folks. Listen to the happy radio station on the way to work. True story. My first day teaching, as I pulled into the parking lot of the school, the very last song on the radio was Pink Floyd's The Wall. We don't need no education. Freaked me out. From that day forward, it was Christian rock every single day. How many of you study willow trees? What? I'm the only person who subscribes to Willow Tree Weekly in here? Oh, you can learn a lot from the willow tree. Harvard did a study. Scientists discovered that these willow trees that were being attacked by caterpillars were sending a chemical in the air to warn other willow trees about the caterpillars. So these willow trees would then create a new chemical in their leaves that made their leaves distasteful, and the caterpillars wouldn't attack them. Thus, these willow trees saved the lives of all the other willow trees. Wow. We could learn a lot from the willow tree. When was the last time you saw somebody taking it and you didn't step in? That's something all of us have to work on. We all have to be that person that steps in. Silence is not golden, folks. Silence is cowardly. You know, do you find yourself doing this at the end of your workday each and every day? Well, I'm here to help. Everybody take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. There are 3 steps to happiness. You may take notes on these if you'd like. Step 1, you need 2 rubber bands and 2 paper clips. Step 2, you need to tie the rubber bands together, attach the paper clips to the ends of the rubber bands. Step 3, you need to get that smile plastered on your face. When you show up at work, do you find people are excited to see you? Or do you find your colleagues tend to stay away from you throughout the day? When you speak up at faculty meetings, do you find people are excited to hear the sweet chirp of your voice? Or are they annoyed by your constant caw all the time? Do you get your way by pushing others around and intimidating them? Or are you wise and patient and gentle? People always ask me, Danny, you observed over 11,000 teachers in their classrooms. How are teachers doing? I can honestly say, pretty well. Out of every 100 teachers I observed, maybe 10 of them should go back to their old careers. 2 of them belong in a federal institution, and those are the 2 the media focuses on. About 15 of them deserve capes, because I would do anything to get my kid in that classroom. The vast majority of teachers, 70 to 75 out of every 100, they're pretty good. They're not good at everything, but if you gave them some time, some resources, and a mentor, you could turn them into that super teacher. I mean, under the federal mandate, they want every first-year teacher to be Joe Montana. I'd like to remind the federal government it took Joe Montana 4 seasons before he was an All-Pro. I mean, we need to lighten up a little bit. It's like going to a party. It drives me nuts. People be like, hey, Danny, you're a teacher. What's the capital of Montana? I'm like, yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm not Google. I don't know everything. You know, we need to bring the pet back into our schools. Potlucks, encouragement, and prayer. Potlucks. This is, may I give some advice to the administrators in the room? Yes. Get rid of faculty meetings. Replace them with potlucks. Words matter. People don't like faculty meetings. They like potlucks. And when you run it like King Arthur. Remember King Arthur? The rule for the Knights of the Round Table was when they were at the Round Table, the knights were only allowed to talk about their triumphs in the field. And if any of the knights had a problem, they would tell the problem to the group, and the rest of the knights would share suggestions on ways to possibly solve that problem. As opposed to most faculty meetings, which usually degenerate into, my life is tougher than your life. Nothing ever gets accomplished doing that. Encouragement. It's different when it's written down. We need to learn how to write things down. I do Post-its all over the place with my students. Tammy opens up her desk. Tammy, this is the cleanest desk I've ever seen. I'm so proud of you, girl. You're moving mountains this year. I love you, Miss Brassell. Lee opens up a book. Says, Lee, you've been reading so well this year. I am so proud of you. I love you, Mr. Brassell. Folks, it's different when it's written down. I'm on the road way too much, over 100 days a year. I miss my wife, I miss my kids. Before I leave, I put Post-its all over my house. My wife will open up the produce store. It says, honey, you're the apple of my eyes. These notes produce results, folks, in the form of 3 children. In prayer, people always yell at me about this, but I was blessed to have colleagues that like to pray with me and for me every single day. And Mrs. Turner, my mentor, she used to lead our prayer circle at the end of school every day, and she would say, Dear Lord, please help these stupid children. Folks, if you're not hanging out with the veterans, you're really missing out on quite a bit. I love this saying that my friend John Lee Hansen said. She says, who's going to hold your rope? You know, a lot of people think that they can do it on their own, and it might be possible. Gosh, though, folks, it's so much more fun doing it with others. So let's make sure we build on those relationships with others. Let's look at how we build relationships with our team. That leads us to the third type of relationship, which is everyone else. I've learned to learn from everybody. Before I got married, I kind of had a lead foot, and I got a lot of speeding tickets, so I spent most weekends in traffic school. I actually really like traffic school. You get to meet really interesting people in traffic school. And so one Saturday I'm in traffic school, and the guy to my right had just done 20 years in the state penitentiary. You know, shaved head, little mustache, tattoos everywhere, baggy shirt, baggy pants. The guy on my left was like a brain surgeon wearing a 3-piece suit, 6'3", Stone Phillips jaw. I'm ashamed to say this, folks. I made some judgments about both of these guys at the beginning of the day. Shame on me. Because by the end of the day, I thought the ex-con was the coolest guy I'd ever met in my life. First of all, he knew every law in the book. He's like, hey, Danny, man, that ticket, that's California Criminal Code 5063, man. You go to this judge, you'll get off. I mean, I was writing notes like crazy. He knew every law. But that's not what made me love him. What made me love him was there was one point in the day where the teacher made us each stand up, and we had to tell the rest of the group our biggest pet peeve about other drivers. And so some people stand up and say, I hate it when people change lanes without signaling. Some people stand up and say, I hate it when people don't come to a complete stop, at a stop sign. She gets to the ex-con, he doesn't stand, he's like, nothing. And she challenges him. She's like, no, stand up, what annoys you about other drivers? He leans back in his chair, he's like, nothing, man. Ain't nothing nobody else does I haven't done before. Oh my gosh! I think that's the wisest statement I've ever heard come from a human being's mouth. I love how holier all of us are than now. Oh, I couldn't vote for that person. That person lied. Because I've never, ever lied before. Let's start judging people on a little bit better standard than that. Hold ourselves accountable. One of the things I love about little kids is they just say the most beautiful things. It's ironic. I started off as a secondary teacher. I found my passion is with the little ones. Why? Because they don't know what they can't do yet. And they say the most brilliant things every single day. I have this little girl, Maya, so beautiful. She comes up to me at recess one day. She's so excited. She's like, Miss Brassell, this is Anjanae. Anjanae is Nikisha's friend. Nikisha is my friend. So that means Anjanae is my friend too. Think about that. What a lovely way to look at the world. I want to surround myself with people like that. Our kids are just itching to express themselves in our classrooms every single day. We ignore kids. Kids are amazing. We ignore them. The 2 greatest questions I've ever been asked were asked by little kids. LaShonda, 5 years old, she's like, Miss Brassell, what does it say Humpty Dumpty's an egg? It doesn't. Nowhere in the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty, does it say Humpty Dumpty's an egg. But every time I've ever read the nursery rhyme, there's a picture of an egg. That's an amazing observation. Tyrell, 6 years old, he's like, Miss Brassell, is Curious George a monkey or an ape? And I laughed till I reread the book. How many of you have ever read Curious George? What does the man in the yellow hat call Curious George? My little monkey. Where's his tail? He doesn't have a tail because he ain't a monkey. I've read that book 3,000 times, never picked up on that. 6-year-old, first time. That's why if I'm ever murdered, I want a first grader on the scene, not my wife. First grader would be like, he's approximately 6 feet tall, dark jacket, dark pants. My wife would be like, I don't know, I think he's this tall, I think he's white. Reminds me of the Gladstone-Disraeli paradox. Jenny Churchill, Winston Churchill's mother, was a contemporary of Queen Victoria. She knew everybody in society. She was once asked the difference between Prime Minister Gladstone and Prime Minister Disraeli. Her response was fabulous. She said, well, whenever I left a meeting with Prime Minister Gladstone, I left feeling like, wow, he is the most interesting person I have ever met. But whenever I left a meeting with Prime Minister Disraeli, I left feeling like, wow, I am the most interesting person he has ever met. What are we doing to make the people around us feel important every single day? So let's take a little bit of time to reflect on this. And with the people around you, I want you to take 23 seconds to do a tweet or tell. I want you to focus on which of these 3 relationships are you going to focus on from day 1 at the beginning of the school year. Your 23 seconds begins now. So why don't we wrap up with the actions we can take to bring joy back into education this year? A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually a weight loss expert. I have lost over 1,000 pounds. The problem is I've gained over 1,230 pounds for a net gain of 230 pounds, but my latest fad diet has been working wonders. May I share the secret with you?
Yes.
Okay, so for breakfast, I'll typically have a half a grapefruit, a slice of whole wheat toast, and 8 ounces of skim milk. Whole milk will kill you. Now, for lunch, I'll typically have 4 ounces of lean chicken. I'll have it with either steamed zucchini or maybe steamed broccoli. I'll down it with a cup of herbal tea because Harvard studies have shown that tea actually speeds up the metabolism. And then just reward myself for doing so well, I like to give myself an Oreo cookie. Now, for my mid-afternoon snack, I typically eat the rest of the package of Oreo cookies. I'll have a quart of Rocky Road ice cream and a jar of hot fudge. Sometimes I pour it on the ice cream. Usually I just drink it directly from the jar. And for dinner, I'll have 2 loaves of banana bread, a pepperoni pizza, a pitcher of beer, 5 Milky Ways, and an entire frozen cheesecake eaten directly out of the freezer. I got a bad habit. 2, actually. I overeat, and I like to eat junk. Raise your hand if you have a bad habit. By the way, those of you not raising your hands, your bad habit is you're a liar. I am so blessed to have a bad habit, because I learned long ago it's a whole lot easier to create a good habit than to break a bad habit. Teachers, we need to create good habits in our students every single day. I've always told my students at the end of class every day, I said, education is valuable, but it's execution that's priceless. Knowledge is not power. Only applied knowledge is power. Or as my pastor used to always say, I don't expect you to do everything I'm suggesting, but for goodness sakes, please try doing something that I suggest. I mean, I need to see if I got risk takers or rule followers. So let's see if you can follow these 4 simple rules over the next 27 seconds. Rule number 1, do not think of a black dog. Rule number 2, do not blink. Rule number 3, do not yawn, or yawn. Rule number 4, do not look at the word below. Okay, so I want you to take a moment, give yourself a score of 0 to 4 on how many rules you were able to follow, and whisper your score to your partner. Please be honest. Go. Well, let's see how you did. If you were able to follow all 4 rules, what part of be honest don't you understand? If you scored a 2 or a 3, excellent effort. In your world, rules rule. And if you scored a 0 or a 1, you have complete disregard for authority, convention, tradition, and civilized norms. You're bound to achieve leadership greatness. Most spectacular leaders, they had to break some rules. I always emphasize to kids, you fail faster to succeed sooner. When I do corporate trainings, I always ask the audience, what's the opposite of success? No, it's not. To succeed, you need to fail a lot. The opposite of success is not trying or quitting. I always tell my little ones, if you're not making 25 mistakes a day, why are you here? We need to take risks. You know, people always remember Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs in a single season, a record that lasted over 30 years, amazing feat. People conveniently forget he also led the league in strikeouts the same year with 89. I, for one, want my kids swinging for the fences every single day. And you need to learn how to laugh at yourself. Why? Because you ain't all that. And neither am I. And if you think you're all that, teach kindergarten for 1 week. They'll set you straight. Like, LaShonda question. She's like, Miss Brassell, when are you going to trim your nose hair? This afternoon. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I ain't all that. So, the first action I want us to take every single day is to celebrate the mistakes in our classrooms. I always tell teachers I'm looking for thermostats, not thermometers. What's the difference? Thermometers take the temperature. Thermostats set the temperature. What kind of environment are you creating in your classroom every single day? Raise your hand if you ever had one of those days. Raise your hand if you ever felt overwhelmed. Raise your hand if you ever need to get pumped up. And so just as a reminder, make sure you give me your name and your email, and I will be making sure to send you a free copy of my ebook. Plus, you're going to get a weekly update to keep you pumped up throughout the year. My friend and mentor, Zig Ziglar, he used to say, people say motivation is temporary. He's like, well, so is bathing. That's why we recommend you do it frequently. Right, so you got to stay pumped up throughout the year. You need to remember this, folks. Good teachers make a difference. You all are my heroes. You all deserve our respect. You all deserve to be treated like royalty. Harvard did a study. They found that 1 out of every 3 Americans is either extremely beautiful or extraordinarily handsome. So I want you to take a moment right now, look at the person to your right. Now look at the person to your left. And if it's neither of those 2 people, remember, you are special and we need you. Don't forget. All right? My wife is from Singapore. She has a cousin who is a Buddhist monk that works for the Dalai Lama. And so whenever the Dalai Lama comes to Los Angeles, we get to watch him speak. And I love watching him speak. He always starts his presentations the same way. He looks at the audience, he smiles, and he asks, have you been kind today? Simple little question. I think a lot of us Americans are starting to lose our manners. Those nice, kind actions every single day that make a huge difference. Can I give you a teaching tip?
Yes.
With my little ones? First of all, Clifton Fadiman said there's no shortage of smarter people. The real shortage is in better people. One of my objectives as an educator is to create better people in my classroom. One of the things I used to do, I got this idea from a pastor. I used to give my little ones 5 pennies. They'd put 5 pennies in their right-hand pocket to start the day. Every time they complimented a classmate, they would take the penny and put it in their left-hand pocket. At the end of the day, we went around the room to see who had 5 pennies in their left-hand pocket. Practice random acts of kindness. It becomes a habit. I want to create better people in my classroom. People always ask me, Danny, what does it take to be a great teacher? There's 2 qualities I've seen in all great teachers. Great teachers have lots of patience. How many of you have ever taught a kid something on Monday and they show up on Tuesday morning like they're from outer space? So you teach it again. And you teach it again. And you teach it again. And great teachers have lots of empathy. It's really easy for us folks. We already know how to do it. It's the getting to know how to do it. That's the trick. Keep that in mind every single day. So everybody turn to the attractive person beside you and repeat after me. Thanks for all that you do. You look like a Monday teacher to me. So the second action I want us to keep in mind every day is how we can be kind. And that leads us to what I think is the most important action, which is to leave fingerprints. Any of you ever seen the movie Grease? It's been around for a while. John Travolta plays a guy named Danny. And Danny has the hots for Sandy, played by Olivia Newton-John. And Danny finds out that Sandy likes jocks. So John Travolta goes to Sid Caesar, who just happens to coach every single sport at this high school. He tries out for the baseball team and he stinks. Tries out for the basketball team and he stinks. Tries out for wrestling and he stinks. Eventually, he tries out for track and field. And not only is he good, he's good enough to earn his varsity letter. Watch that movie again. What an amazing teacher Sid Caesar was. He never gave up on that kid. He found something that kid was good at. I promise you, all of our kids are good at something. It's our job to find that in them and to celebrate it every single day. One of my favorite speakers is a guy named Ken Blanchard. If you ever have a chance to watch Ken speak, he's wonderful. He was speaking to a grocery store chain, all 10,000 employees, from the baggers all the way up to the CEO. He challenged that audience. He said, what are you doing to leave your fingerprint every single day so everybody remembers you? He got everybody pumped up because he's a great speaker. And one of the people in the audience that day was a bagger named Johnny. Johnny was 18 years old. Johnny had Down syndrome. He went home all pumped up trying to figure out, what can I do to put my fingerprint on my job tomorrow? So that night, he sat at his computer and he typed up funny jokes and sayings he had heard. He printed them out, he cut them out. The next day, when he was at work, every time he bagged a bag of groceries, he put one of his jokes in the bag of groceries. Fast forward a week. Grocery store managers walk on the floor, there's 4 lines open, 3 of them are empty, there's 20 women in one line. It's like, excuse me ladies, there's 3 other lines open. They look at him like, yeah, but this is Johnny's line. I thought that was cool, but that's not the best part of the story. Floral department notices what Johnny's doing, so floral department starts offering a complimentary flower to every single elderly woman as she walks in the store. Now, if I was a woman, I'd be like, who you calling elderly? But wait a second, wait. Meat department sees what floral department's doing, so meat department starts putting Mickey Mouse stickers on all their packaged meats. Again, I ain't gonna buy meat with a rat on it, but that works. Here's the best part of the story. This little grocery store in Missouri, within 1 month, became the #1 grocery store in America. And it all started with Johnny. I look at my little ones every single day. Most important movements in the history of the world started with one person, and quite often it's a child that shall lead them. So I'm going to leave you today with a quote from one of my favorite teachers, Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. He said something once that meant a lot to me. Hopefully it'll mean a lot to you. He said, when I was young, my heroes wore capes. Now I can honestly say that anyone who does anything to help a child is a hero to me. Folks, look around. You're surrounded by heroes, and there's one sitting in your chair right now. Translation, smile and bring the joy back into education. Have a wonderful school year, everybody. God bless you. Thank you all for being here.